Hello there and welcome to another one. I trust I find you in good spirits. It's back with Game On. It's another one. And more than anything, I'm so excited because the man next to me has been nothing but an inspiration, if I can put it that way. We are live from UJ and we had to bombard him from his workspace. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Coach Sibiya. Hello, sir.
Afternoon, sir. How are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you doing?
No, very well.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a couple of months.
Yeah.
But delighted to be on the side of the cricket field again,
Awesome.
and honoured and privileged to be part of your podcast.
Yeah. It's you know what, I think you're one of the first people that we wanted to bring on, but there's always been either load shedding or you are busy or we are busy, but a massive shout out to Aya for reaching out. Aya is our content producer and he's been the person behind all these great names that are coming through. So thank you so much. My name is Tatenda. Here is not here, Aya is here, Pumza is not here, but you are here and thank you. Coach Sia, the first question that anyone could ask when when you say you want to start a podcast or you've got a guest, the first question is going to be, who is that? And I always try to sort of run away from that question because it's an awkward question, but for the sake of the viewers, who is Sia?
No, we've got to give the people what they want.
Definitely.
Siyabonga Sibiya is originally from KZN, in a small little village, rural village called Emangete, just outside of Mandeni. Typical apartheid sort of pre-readmission kind of upbringing, raised by my grandmother, domestic worker, and had the privilege of going to some good schools and being exposed to sports such as cricket and hockey and rugby and everything of that nature. And then the people she worked for moved to Cape Town, and we then based ourselves Gwalanga, which is basically home in its own right also. And then through the ranks, Western Province cricket. I played at Province Cricket Club, didn't play for Langa. And then learned my cricket there. I was privileged enough to get good coaches, a good foundation. Played hockey and cricket. Went to a school called Grooteskir, which is opposite Newlands. So I found myself near cricket all the time.
So cricket chose you there.
Yeah, I guess so. Then I think things work out in a certain way, and I ended up, leaning on the route of coaching. Just not enough opportunities at the time when I was probably playing my best cricket at Province Cricket Club. But those who can't do well enough then end up teaching. So I found that as the easier route. I've always been connected to coaching. I think even in high school, I was quite a decent hockey player, so I coached our girls hockey side, our first team girls hockey side. So I was paying school fees and also getting paid by the school.
Wow, what a life!
So that's me. Married happily, no kids yet, but raising my younger brother for the last sort of year, so obviously I've got a family. Just trying to find balance and find peace in obviously the pressures of work and family life, and trying to find a balance in sort of that mental health and mental wellness, and just giving to guys that did not just deserve it but need a half a chance. And that's probably why I'm involved in cricket. There is a greater goal, there is a greater dream, but to earn my stripes right now, I believe that serving is a big part of my work. Wow. And as a coach, and it's a selfless job, it's a thankless job, and I found myself in this position now at UJ. Fast forward to a bit of a successful period where I'm enjoying this job as a managerial position and a head coach position, so it's a dual role, and through cricket, that's the key.
Langa, you spoke about Langa. I think a lot of cricketers are hailing from that side of town. Temple Bavuma, if I'm not mistaken, Nono Pongolo.
Yeah.
Or resources towards that side of town, or what? Or guys are just hungry?
No, it's hunger. I do think CSA have. I'm not going to say they throw all their eggs in that pot, but hockey, cricket environment. But the one thing that two entrances and exits.
Jeepers.
Kwalanga.
So it's that small?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's grown. But it's very close knit and it's got a sporting culture. There's a lot of support. And Tami, Lungile Tsolekile, who played for hockey for South Africa.
Yeah.
We grew up next to the stadium. It's not far away, so you're not going to play in the street.
You go to
the stadium every
Makes
single
sense,
day in
though.
the holidays,
Yeah.
and that's where there's a lot of talent coming through now. I think there's a boy. His surname is Krai. His dad also in our age, and he's an exceptional hockey player.
Wow.
Good cricketer. We look out for him, and hopefully he'll be playing for Western Province in the age group stuff. So it is yes CSA fund and assist in the club's program and the hub. However, it's a community thing. We care about our facility, and that's the first part. So if you don't have facility, you don't have infrastructure, so you can't develop talent, and you're not going to enhance talent. Various people have come on board to assist and support, the likes of Gary Kirsten on a cricketing side, Colleen Hodge on a hockey side, who's the manager of hockey, and there's various support. But you only get that support if you look after and maintain your facility. So that's been a big part of Langa's growth and development. But also there's a desire to continue the legacy of the Tamis of this world, the Cyprian News of this world, the Albert Ngomos of this world that used to play, that didn't have the opportunities. So we are constantly reminded, but there's a lot of passionate elder people that do it for free.
Wow.
There's a guy
for the love of it.
For the love of it. There's a guy called, we call him Utaskara, Ezra Agwe. He retired a couple of years ago from Western Province. He ran mini cricket at Western Province. He got us all started on cricket.
Wow.
Whether it was age group stuff or
but still whatever. Just starting. Get
in the taxi and go play.
I said the same thing to Pila. And I'm like, in as much as yes, we want transformation, and we're looking at transformation as a sort of revenge kinda. It's our time kinda vibe. And I always say, until we change the mindset of the community, we're never going to get the benefits of transformation. Why I say so is I took an example with Dobsonville, Brown Fisher Sports Complex. I think very beautiful facility. First year of Brown Fisher being there, everyone was excited. Lions players went and played there, the community cup and all that, Ekasi challenge. And second season, covers were stolen, nets were vandalized, you name it. So you're like, yes, CSA is trying to bring these facilities back Ekasi, but then if Ekasi, they haven't actually grasped the concept that you can still make a living from doing this. Until that happens, we are always going to build facilities and they're just going to break down. How then do we then say we want transformation and we want it now, kind of vibes? You understand?
Yeah.
So,
No, it's a tough
it,
one.
it came back to me, and like you are saying now with Kwalanga, every person, grown-ups, young ones, they are all part and parcel in making sure that the facility stays strong. That's why a lot of cricketers are coming out of there.
100%.
Yeah.
Our coaches were the groundsman, the scorer, the umpire.
Does everything.
Does everything. I mean, it's you know, on the topic of transformation, I think transformation has to be something that's organic from within. So we see transformation as a purely black success thing,
Yeah.
black opportunity,
Yeah.
black force in the door thing. And I think we're missing a window in that, because even us as black people, and I'll speak for myself, we need to transform. And transforming is the way we think,
Yeah.
the way we see the world, the way we contribute to the world. Because with transformation, the way we stereotypically see it as black people, we're very caught up in an us versus them thing.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
move the white man out the way, move this guy out the way, move the Indian guy out the way, the black man must get through the door. All those people, all those races are all still part of the ecosystem of transformation. If the transformation of the black man's thinking changes, it will change the perception that the white man has of the black man.
Cheers.
If you can put it that way.
Cheers. Wow.
So then he'll transform his thinking, and he then carries that over and transforms the way that he looks at the Indian guy.
Wow. Why then are we trying to make it it's not a political thing, right?
No, but we've been dragged into that because of the history of this country.
Yeah, but the thing is, for the sake of development and making sure that future stars are going to come out of this, surely why are we then making it political? Because in as much as yes, apartheid happened and it's not right, whatever happened was not right, but then for the sake of progress, can we still make transformation about politics without understanding that it's about making sure that everyone gets a fair and equal opportunity regardless of blue, black, white, whatever color?
So, so what is the definition of transformation? The definition of transformation, as far as I understand it, is equal opportunity for all kinds from all backgrounds.
Not just blacks getting into sides.
No. You can have 11 black players, but it doesn't have the same infusion of culture. You need the guy that rocks up with the lunch. You need that guy that's going to bring the lunch and maybe bring an extra bat for me.
Exactly.
But you also need the guy that's caught 2 taxis because he'll bring a lot of passion and a lot of desperation.
He's hungry, yeah.
So we find it very easy to link politics and the political history of this nation with transformation. I think it's going to be a very hard thing to divorce politics and sport. It's going to be very, very difficult.
Which is not the right perception if we want development. If we want development in a society,
100%.
Politics should stay there. Sport should stay there.
Let's make it economical.
Yeah, exactly.
So if we went economical, then perhaps if we did the right things and we managed the money, white business buys into cricket, more black players get facilities.
But we're not doing that as well. So we're not
It's
doing
difficult.
ourselves a favor.
Just shooting both legs. But I don't blame our parents, I guess, and our grandparents and great grandparents for the anger that they foster because of what happened.
Because they went through it.
They went through it. They
Yes,
lived it.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily believe that all of them should be sitting in positions and rotating in parliament and making decisions about us at 65, 70 years old.
Definitely. Yeah.
So that's where we are a bit maybe stagnant in sport and in politics. But for me, as a coach and a manager at UJ, and having been a coach at Lions and obviously Western Province, I just think that we're missing something. I've seen some amazing organic transformation processes come into play that have produced some very special sportsmen and sportswomen. I look at the way and he doesn't get enough credit for it. Lawrence Mahatlana, the former SA U19 coach, so previous to Shukri. Lawrence we scurried the country, and I was his assistant coach, and I worked in the TAP program with him, with now the Proteas fielding coach Wandile Gwavu. It wasn't a black agenda. It was let's find the top black players wherever they are around the country, and give access and give opportunity based on the talent and the ability that they have. The Lifantanzis, the Wandile Makwetus, who led the SA U19 side, the Mokhakana, who's just played for the SA emerging side, has scored 70-odd to win them the game against the Zim emerging side. Those guys come through that pathway, and I don't think Lawrence gets enough credit from the franchise system or the cricketing community for engaging those players. Javesh and Pillay, he came through that space, but that's an Indian player, it's not a black player.
But that's still transformation.
It is. It's organic. Let's find the best players of color and
give them opportunity.
Give them an opportunity, give them access, give them coaching, support their needs, so that they don't worry about the Monday to Friday. They just focus on playing. And I give Lawrence a lot of credit in most interviews that I do, because I learnt a lot because he grew up in Soweto, where it wasn't easy. He became a coach through the system and ended up at Lions. But through that, he never carried. I used to tell me stories about times where he would throw balls at 7 o'clock at the Wanderers to Daryl Cullinan before he went to work.
Jeez.
Not with his arm, not the things that we have, these flickers.
Not with the side arms.
With the side arm. And,
wow.
And not because, it's my job, but the passion for the job and the passion for the players. That's what a coach does. That's what a coach can either make or break a human being by the way he carries himself, the way he treats people, the way he communicates, and just by the way that he is present in the moment with those players. And I try to be present as much as I can with these boys. I'm not present right now. I'm just hearing the Wits boys whacking it. But I think we're batting on the N1, so it should be all right.
But then it's winter, so you can imagine. It's always going to be N1.
So coaches need to play a big part, because I think sometimes we've got a lot of kids that come from single homes that we coach. And we've got to be father, mother, everything to them on a day-to-day basis, and they turn up because they need that breakaway. And our socio-economic challenges and socio-issues are deeper than just sport is an escape.
True. It's just like a person that would say, I want to go to the bar. I would drink, or I would watch rugby or watch soccer on TV just to break away from a toxic marriage or whatever the case may be. Could it be that's the same thing with that kid that is coming? Then the coach doesn't even so much as look at them.
200%.
It makes or breaks, like you're saying. And you say, someone once said on Facebook that a coach can make or break someone's future, even though they may not give them the best tools. But the mere fact that coach believed in me, that's why I pushed a little bit more.
100%.
And that's where you are. At what point in your life, coach, did it dawn on you that, I've got the hunger and passion for developing players? And I don't want to use for coaching players. I want for developing players, because I don't think you would achieve what you've achieved with UJ to start with if you didn't have that hunger. At what point in your life do you were like, I'm done with this. I want to be the change. Because we always say, be the change that you want to see in the world. Here you are, you being that change that you want to see at UJ or wherever that you've coached.
Look, that's a tough one to answer. I sometimes think that I land with my bum in the butter a lot, and my ancestors deserve a lot of credit for that, and God for putting me in spaces where I am exposed to making a difference. I don't think I'm in full control of my own destiny. I think there are things that I control, but there's higher powers at play. But for me, really, the turning point was when you start realizing the difference between the kinds of coaches you get, the kind of coach you might want to be. So I'm extremely hard. I'm a tough coach. My players, if you interviewed them, they would tell you he's uncompromising. This guy's horrible sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's not from a place of love. So I think the key thing was me to find a coach that I trust as a player, and that trust is earned by the coach. You need to do certain things. You need to be there for someone consistently enough for them to believe in your word, in what you're giving them. You need to be the best salesman as a coach. So for me, probably, I realized this probably about 10, 12 years ago. It's obviously grown and been purified over time. But at a really young age, I knew, even as a player in the team, that I had a powerful influence on my peers. And that's led me to understanding and observing people a lot to try find what can I say to bring out the best in this guy, so that we can win this game. So it starts there. Then it becomes, oh, shit, I'm a young coach and maybe I'm working with a 10-year-old, a young John O'Bird, who, if I showed you a photo, you'd laugh, is seeing a guy like that develop and being able to sell it. So first incentivized with a packet of chips or chocolate or sweets or something.
Yeah.
Then it grows into a conversation where we're sitting and we're like, listen, can you try do this in that way? Have you ever tried that? And it's about selling it so that they buy in. They'll only buy in if they trust you. So you have to develop trust. And there has to be honor in what you do as a coach.
Wow.
And consistency. Honor will be developed through your consistency. So I'm here every morning before my players.
Wow.
And I'm also the last person.
That makes a huge difference, because as they're pulling up, you're there.
Yeah, and I'm the last person to leave. The gaffer does
so
not
you're not
come,
just doing this because, it's your job.
Yeah, no.
You are doing it because you love it.
It's my passion. I am passionate about these kids. I'm enthralled by what they can achieve and what they currently working towards. And the reward is seeing one of them go forward and make it, and maybe send a message and say, Coachy, thank you.
Thank you.
That, to me, there's no money on earth. Coaching is not a big money job.
Yeah, you're not gonna be
No.
you're not gonna be insanely rich from coaching.
No, if
That's
you want
one
money,
thing for sure.
if you want to be money, go be a neurosurgeon. And we don't all have the mental, the brain. We don't use our brain to the capacity to become that. That's why God doesn't have 1 million neurosurgeons flying around. But we all have our way and our gifts to contribute. And I believe that my gift is coaching. And coaching, not necessarily in throwing cricket balls, but coaching as in helping people get better.
Wow.
It is a form of healing. I guess it's coaches are doctors. Coaches are psychologists. Coaches are teachers.
Yeah.
You're all of those things.
Yeah.
But you probably get half the money.
Yeah,
but you'll get a lot of thanks.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll get a box of chocolates for Christmas from your player.
Christmas, or a new cap.
A cap. Coach, thank you very much for this year.
Yeah.
But that's the reward. And when a kid goes from 0 to 1, that's an achievement. And goes from 2 to 3 and 4 to 5. That's your job.
Yeah.
That's what you contribute for.
Yeah. When you're a coach and you said as you were growing up you realized that you had influence, that's leadership and captaincy. Is it something that you saw from somebody, or did you have a mentor that sort of made you realize? Because there's a lot of stuff that we go through and it's only another person that's going to make you realize that, oh, that's the way to go about it. Or sometimes we make mistakes not realizing that we're actually making mistakes until someone comes through and say, no, Tatenda, this is not the way to go about it, or that's not the way to answer, that's not the way to talk, that's not this. Then from there, that's how you then get your experience or that light bulb moment. Say, oh, this is how. Did you ever get? Yes, you had coaches at Kwalanga that groomed you. But at what point did you then realize that, yes, I've got an influence over my teammates, but then how then do I nurture that influence to make sure that it's a positive one?
I was also naughty. I also was a very difficult teammate because I had ability and I became frustrated at times also.
If they're not doing...
If things were not going the way that I saw them going. But I was thrust into men's cricket really early at Western Province Cricket Club, which is my home club where I played my club cricket, where I learned my cricket. And I think I was like 15 and I was batting, came into the side, and I was batting number 10, but I was a batter.
Oh, jeez. That means the batting lineup was long, huh?
Yeah, it was, but you think to yourself as a lighty, come on, surely I must get a gap year, single figures, but that wasn't the case, and one of my teammates who is not necessarily a popular guy on Facebook, he says some very outlandish stuff about transformation and players of color and this and that.
Yeah.
He then at the time was a guy that gave me a really, really hard time in the side, but he said something to me one day, and I was sulking, as a young guy would do in the team.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I was like, yo, I can't believe I'm only bowling 2 overs just before guys declare, and now I'm going to bat number 10. I've been fielding for 70 overs. This is not cricket. And he he said to me, do you know what? One thing about life, you won't learn anything for as long as you think it's about you. Everything's about you.
Shots fired.
Now, you're saying this to a 15-year-old, 16-year-old that's like...
shooting him in the gut.
I just want to play. Give me a chance.
I'm hungry. I just want to play.
And he said, look, it's not about you. It's about the team. But your moment will come, and you'll be successful in your moment if you pack all of this stuff away. Grow up. You're in a man's world now. If you get 2 overs, bowl your best 2 overs. If you get a chance to bat, give your best and be not out. Or win us a game or get us over the line. Fast forward, opportunity comes. I think we were playing against a club called Claremont. And they just recently won the league. Shout out to them.
Awesome.
Alison Johnson was my under-19 coach. Shout out to Ali.
Nice.
And he also said the same thing when I was under-19 a couple of years later. This is not about you. It's about the team. And opportunity came. We were in trouble. We needed to save a game in a 2-day game. Cape Town played 2-day cricket, Saturday to Saturday. So we needed to draw the game against Claremont. And they had some good players and experienced guys. And a guy called Kenny Jackson who played for Boland. He was extremely abusive at the time. And I think he still is like that, but it happens on the cricket field.
Yeah.
And he came at me, and I must have batted about 4 hours just blocking, man. Just blocking and leaving, copping abuse about the color of my skin and how crap I am and this and that.
So it was predominantly White Hawks?
Yeah, in the opposition. And I learned something called resilience. And through that resilience, I was then able to replicate it time and time again. And I then learned to obviously play a little bit. I had flair, as most black cricketers do, sometimes to their own detriment. Try to take on long on because, coach, it's in my area.
It was there, coach. She was there. I promise she was there.
Which is the worst answer a player can give me now.
Yeah.
But I also had good coaches like along the way. There's a guy called Les Vensler, who was the first team coach, and he took me on and he kind of guided me. A guy called Richard Burnett, who's passed on now. May he rest in peace. And he guided me as an English guy, coach at Sussex. And he kind of like would make me see light in these things. And if you're willing to learn and you're open to being a sponge and you stop resisting certain things and certain lessons, you then start building your tree, And then, but I mean, probably the strongest coach, to me, the most influential is a guy called Russell Sissing. Russ coached me technically, but he really coached me mentally. He made me love coaching. So when I was in grade 11, I job shadowed him I didn't want to go do a normal office job. So I job shadowed Russ.
You've always been the guy that wants to be outdoors.
Yeah, I have an office at UJ and
I'm
there, but I'd rather be here. But I have to do my admin and do all those things and print and send emails. So I do go up there. But Russ then let me the next year. He went to England in the winter for like 2 months. And he left me with all his coaching clients to coach after school.
Wow.
So...
How old are you at this point?
I was 18.
Jeepers. Wow. Okay.
So he was like, hey, do you want to coach? And I'm like, yeah, but I've got matric. And he's like, listen, coach these guys for me. And I'll pay you. But just coach.
Yeah.
So then I took charge. I took a responsible like lead, and then also at the club I was coaching the juniors. I then fostered a lot of responsibility as a coach early, planning, running a junior section at the age of 20 at Western Province Cricket Club. As a coach, so making sure guys know what to set up, where, how we're going to go about coaching, the club's philosophy, because I was playing in the first team, so what was going on there needed to be filtered down to the juniors, and our DNA needed to be crystal clear. So all of us first team players coached, but I took a lead in that space, and I worked for a guy called Gio Calusi. I think you see him on Instagram speaking about batting, and I learned a lot from Gio, and he was my captain at the time. And Gio taught me. Gio was tough on me. If I bowled a poor over, Gio would yank me off sometimes. But he was teaching me discipline. By one side of the wicket, this is the plan. Stick to the plan. And all these people, a guy called Rushdie Hendricks, he believed in me as a captain. He's the guy at DP. Rushdie, Wow. So Rush is a very good friend of mine. His nickname is Bala. So he backed me throughout. He saw my talent. He then said, look, you're going to bat number 3 the whole season. You're going to bowl first change. And you're going to
whether you fail, you score runs, you don't score runs, you're guaranteed.
Sort yourself out, figure it out. And around me, I was very lucky at Province Cricket Club, because I was exposed to pros like Ryan Tenderscarter, who in the team was a mentor to me. He taught me how to practice. So now those things as a player, you learn to take them into your coaching.
Yeah.
So he taught me.
Don't lose that train of thought. How to practice. I'm gonna come back to that. How to practice. I want.
So he taught me volume. He taught me how to think the game, but also just like, no matter what happens, when you cross that rope, you're a professional. If you want to be a professional, you cross that rope.
Even if you're playing club cricket,
don't matter.
Professional.
Doesn't matter. I watched that man score. We used to play double headers sometimes against the universities. So we played UCT on the Saturday and played UWC on the Sunday. And the next week, Ryan Tenderscarter scored 100 on the first innings against UCT, 100 in the first innings against UWC, 100 against
scoring hundreds
in the second innings to chase it, and another 100 to chase it again.
Jeez.
And they weren't like small 100, they were daddy hundreds. Ryan Tenderscarter was a special cricketer. In my eyes, like, he was the best cricketer I've ever seen. Because that was the nearest and closest person I could see and touch and talk to every single day. So I was very much exposed there. They're one of the best bowlers that I played with, and he taught me work. I learned work ethic. But I think Ryan is 2 years younger than me. Ryan van Niekerk, who was the interim Dutch coach.
I see.
One of the best left arm swing bowlers I've been on the same field as. Great control, great skill. At a point, he was just unbelievable in second innings. We'd take 6 out of nowhere in the second innings, swing it up front, get 2, and then come in at the back in the middle and bowl around the wicket and get it to hold its line. Passionate, exciting cricketers. So that built my coaching sort of philosophy also, those engagements. And also just there were guys that were just relaxed. I mean, the guy called Darren Bassage, he was an opening batter. He played for the Cobras for a period. He played for KZN Academy and worked his way up. And he taught me pathway and steps about if you're going to make it, the time invested in this is important. So master this space, master that space, hit a lot of balls. Also, I learned to throw a lot of balls at him and watched him bat as a younger player in the team. Yeah. So all of those things, I don't think there's a specific moment where the penny drops. I think it's a build-up and an inculcation of all of those things that build your DNA. Then you start shifting to coaches.
Yeah.
Where coaches teach you certain things, and you need to learn to take what may be good for you and respectfully sift out what doesn't work for you.
Wow.
And that's what players need to learn in coaching and being responsive to coaching also.
Wow.
So there isn't a moment. There isn't a specific day or time where it clicks.
Wow. Someone once said that nothing that happens all of a sudden is as a result of something that happened all of a sudden.
100%.
So it's small.
It's practice and increments all the time. I mean, I got given responsibility time and time again. That's why I mentioned the statement of I landed with my bum in the butter a lot of the time. So there's a guy called Clinton Ravens. He's still around. He's an ex-old Montrose guy in Cape Town. Mr. Ravens, I got into the game as a fielding coach and helping him with the fitness for his guys. He was aging a little bit as a coach. And the year was the year of Dayan Khalim and them in Coke
Oh, I
Week.
see.
Dayan Khalim, Calvaraina. So
Oh, yes. That was the start of
Coke
those
Week
boys,
2014. It's in Albans, in Pretoria.
Okay.
Mr. Ravens gave me basically free reign to run his team.
Wow.
He would literally DOS.
He would do everything.
He would DOS, and I would do everything from.
Were you
running.
shadowing him, or it was an official position?
I was shadowing him, and it soon, very quickly, just turned into an official position. But I'd coach like B-side stuff, and as a head coach, and he was like, "No, come, I want your help. I want you to help me." So I threw balls, I ran the sessions, I coached, I gave strategy and planning and all of that. And he would just ask me, why are you doing it like that?
Wow.
Why did you say it like that? What do you think they're going to respond to today? Do you think that so-and-so? Then he started pointing out individuals. And then we soon learned, or I learned, through his mentorship by giving me responsibility, making me lead, that he was actually building me for something.
And the mere fact that he still comes back to you and says, why did you say that? So he's not bashing you in front of the player. He's coming back to sit down with you and say, what was the thought process? Because I may hear what you're saying, but I may not understand where it's coming from. 100%. So I want to understand.
Do you understand what your players need today? He would never ever say, he always referred to them as my players.
Your players.
Not his players.
Your players.
My players. So he was always thrusting me in a position of, you're in charge of this now, run with it. We had a great Coke Week. We had a couple of guys make the SA school side. And he said to me, you've done really, really well. You have a really, really big future as a coach. And I really took that seriously. So I thought to myself, shucks, I want to be a head coach. Like I want to be the boss.
Yeah.
I want to come up with the strategy, the plan, and run with this. So, in adversity, there's also opportunity. So went and did a project and fell out with Gio, who I was working for at the time. Project in India, fell out. So started my own little thing, and I was like, I got bored very quickly. I was like, no, this thing is burning inside me.
Wow.
So I phoned Mr. Nabil Dean, who was the Western Province CEO at the time, and said, look, I need an opportunity and I need a coach.
Wow.
And I need to be a head coach, and I want to run things. And he said to me, you've always been ambitious, but you can't get in the lift and go to the top floor. You need to climb the stairs. And I said, whatever it is, I'll come and throw balls.
Just for me to get there.
I went to the Cobras nets and I'll throw balls. And then he's like, there's actually a gap for a hub coach, and Clinton Dupree, shout out to him, because Clinton Dupree, the cricket services manager at Western Province, and Mr. Dean came up with an opportunity for me to coach, meet with the chairman of Primrose Cricket Club, Hamid Palika, where I was a hub coach. So I didn't coach SA U19 because I'm black.
Wow.
I want to make very, very clear.
You've earned your stripes.
I need to make that crystal clear to people. I am not where I am because of the color of my skin. Don't get that mistaken. I have served, and I had to serve, and I learned to serve.
Wow.
And so at Primrose, now you're a hub coach. Now you got, the hub system is such a special system, and if you want to be a successful coach, I think it's an important place to start. I understand that there's a lot of player coaches in South Africa that leave playing and they become coaches in franchise positions. I think there's an opportunity to learn in that space. I don't belittle that program, because I think when run and done properly, it can be the lifeblood of South African cricket. And there were players that came through, but I don't think there was a lot of malicious compliance within the rollout of that program also, which sometimes happens. I mean, Cricket South Africa spent a lot of money and a lot of funding went into that to give guys one work, but also it then became about giving someone a job, giving the guy that stopped playing first team a coaching job. No.
But do they want to coach or they just want a job?
Well, that's the question.
That's the question now.
You know, so becoming a hub coach, I met with Hamid Palika at his house at Primrose.
Where are the coaching levels at this point?
Oh, I'm constantly doing it.
Well,
so I'm a level 2.
So you're already doing your stuff.
Yeah.
But you just want that break.
Yeah, there's a very important person that I'm going to mention just now. So Hamid then gives me this job. I'm a level 2 coach. Pushing for, really like hungry now. I want to get level 3.
Yeah.
Because I want to do some serious coaching now.
Yeah.
And Hamid then they give me the job. So I'm the first team coach. I was still playing, so I was player coach, and I was blessed and lucky enough to coach a couple of really good players in Zubi Hamza, who's playing at the same club. Wow. So their passion as a club was to get promoted from what was 1B at the time, which is first division, into 1A, which is the Premier Division.
Okay.
And they hadn't done it in like 8 or 9 years. And I think I was 26 years old, raw.
You're still a youngster.
Yeah, raw.
Literally, yeah.
Haven't done a lot as a coach. And these guys are like, yo, we need you to get us promoted. So I put systems in place. I did what I had learned and acquired in the time that I was exposed to things. And the structure at Province Cricket Club allowed me to be able to do it. So I replicated that, what I knew, what I understood.
Yeah.
I replicated that.
Because you've been part of that.
Yeah, and I'd been in that system.
In that system, yeah.
So I gave that to Primrose. I gave my all. I was doing the hub stuff in the afternoons, and then in the evenings the guys would come and have their coaching. But here's the catch. At Primrose, it's a predominantly Muslim club. So I had to learn. I was immersed in learning another culture, learning about people, learning about the community. And listen, Primrose Cricket Club has probably the most special place in my heart, because I wouldn't be where I am and what I am without the foundation that Primrose gave me, and the freedom and the trust that was given to me. Yeah, I bumped heads, I made mistakes.
Obviously, yeah.
I made a lot of mistakes, but in that I learned a lot, and I learned very fast, and we got promoted. We had an amazing young cricketer come be our pro, Usman Kadir, the leg spinner, Pakistan leg spinner.
Oh, yes, okay.
Man, what a wizard.
Wow.
What a bowler at that time. Usman was special, very difficult to manage. But we grew very close. We still chat now. He actually helps me with some of my spinners when I phone him and get on a video call.
Yeah.
And he will just direct traffic and help give guys ideas. And he sometimes mentors, they can text him. So yeah, we got promoted. I then obviously took on more work I got a framework job after that. Under 15, under 17. I think my first group was the likes of Daniel Smith, who's now in the SA merging side. So Stockies is his nickname. I'm a good relationship person, so I'm able to get people to work for me for free. So I replicated what I would want one day as a franchise coach or a national coach in my framework system. And I got a lady from Sports Science who became a very good friend of mine, Rishka Mohammed. And there's a shout out to all of these people because they really helped shape my journey also. Rishka was the physio. So we had a physio basically working with these guys. Bonga, Siaplaiki, Tandontini, she was looking after those guys. We had a girl called Happiness. She's still involved with the national women's side.
Wow.
And Sandile, Shabalala, he was doing our media. So getting these players out there, getting them used to media, getting them used to
how to
deal in an interview, preparing guys for
this
the
is
future.
The professional.
Yeah.
This is professional stuff.
That's what I did.
Because now you're talking about media and you're thinking, I'm just a Premier League player. What do I know about answering?
No, these are 15-year-old kids.
Yeah,
so we needed to teach them that.
Yeah.
And they were a very, very special group. There were some really talented players in that group. And then I had good assistant coaches. So my thing, relationships again. So I got the Rondebosch under 90 or first team coach to be my assistant.
Wow.
Yaku Zeman, awesome guy, knows the game. And Yaku was close to Rob, who knew school cricket better than anyone in the Western Cape. He was the sort of director of cricket at the time. Yaku's now the director. Those two guys helped me. Then I got a guy to assist me in the B team in Brendan Kleinans, who's the educator for the current SA U19 side.
Wow.
He's the guy that throws the speed of light with the sidearm. So I got Brendan involved. Then I asked my mate Victor to help me and taught him how to throw. I was living with Victor at the time. Taught him.
Which Victor?
Victor Macholo.
Oh, I see. Okay.
He's the Western Province under 19 manager.
I see.
Got him to throw balls. Then I brought in. I needed help. Someone who saw cricket differently. I bumped into a guy. I became close with a guy called Mr. Graham October, who's very influential in talent. He's the scout at Western Province.
I see.
So he helped me navigate my way and get to know people, introduce me to the right people within cricketing circles beyond what my coaching was. So we really very much professionalized the framework. From physio to trainer. Then I went to ETA.
Yeah.
And I went to speak to a friend that I grew up with, Garth, and he was a lecturer there. And I said, Garth, listen, I've got 2 squads, 15s, 17s. I need an S&C for each of those.
Wow.
Outside of the other people.
Yeah.
Garth was like, look, we got students that need to do hours.
Jeez.
So he's like,
so you're
boom.
killing 2 birds with 1 stone. They're
It's
getting
a
their
win.
hours. It's a win-win.
It's a win-win.
Yeah.
Cool. Get those guys in. There's a guy called Lukman, and there was a guy called Matthew, and then there was Happy, who was in charge of all of them. Then the key was to, and there one more guy, one of the top cricket schools, and he's with Namibia now, Oscar Nauhaus. He was in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, coaching there for an academy, but he was at Wynberg.
Okay.
So Rondebosch, Sachs, Wynberg. I had a person involved in each, and then one of my consultants and assistants, added assistants, was Bradley Barnes, who was at Bishops.
Jeez.
So all the 4 top boys' schools,
They were
I
in your
managed to
hands.
get someone involved to assist in developing the players.
Jeez.
Not work for me, assist in developing the players,
yeah.
and making sure that the program was solid. Then
From those names, that was a solid program. Man.
done. So one of the other guys, there's a guy called Marcus Oliphant. He was the manager for the
Okay.
under 15Bs. And then Derek Mitchell, who I grew up with, we lived in the same cul-de-sac. He was also an exceptional cricketer and coach. So I got him involved as a batting consultant and one of the assistant coaches. But I didn't realize at the time that I wasn't just developing the kids.
We're developing you.
I developed myself, but
Yeah.
most importantly, I developed these people
Yeah. To work in that team.
to work in
Yeah,
that team
yeah.
and in that environment and harness their skills. And that then made me realize, oh wow, shit, I'm quite good at leading.
Wow.
I'm quite good at systems.
Yeah.
I can do this. I can use this as a blueprint. And then things kind of went a little bit awry at Western Province. I felt like I was progressing, and Paul Adams had a situation where he was dismissed or parted ways. Facts will be known by those that know them.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into too much of
Yeah.
it, but analytically, Paul Adams is probably one of the best analysts in terms of the game and technique and all that I've ever seen. So he then obviously got sacked, and then Ashwell Prince got appointed, and I got a call from the CEO saying, "Hey man, we need you to be the interim assistant coach for the Cobras." I was, what?
Really? Yes. Okay.
So in between that, I'd spent some time with Salih Nakadin with the B side, throwing balls. You know, he gave me some responsibilities within the team space. Really, again, another person allowing me to grow. And Salih's Papa Snakes was solid in that, teaching me how franchise cricket works. How do you work with professional players? In that time, soon, because I was just free throwing balls in the morning when they had practice, guess what? The pro players then go, Dane Villas comes and says, "Hey man, coach, can you do some work with me. Can you help me with this? Then Rich Levy, then Putters, then Ontes.
These are big names.
Then Stian van
bro.
Sales.
Yeah.
Then the guys are starting to queue up, and I'm going, hey guys, my shoulder.
My shoulder.
But those were all opportunities to grow. Listening and watching those guys as batters. I mean, some of those guys Dane, congratulations to him on his retirement and his career.
Yeah.
Dane was such a pro. Probably the fittest guy I've ever seen. 4-day, day one ends. Dane Villas in Osu, and it's 40 degrees, is running around the field.
Jeez.
I'm going, yes.
This hit.
But this guy has a desire to play for his country, even if it's one test.
Wow.
You know, and I was blown away. Putters, just the way to practice, how to practice again. Learned that. Ontes, how to practice your game. Rich Levy, how to practice the way you play. Parney, Dane Patterson. I mean, some of the guys I'd played academy with, and a little bit of, club cricket against, and all of that stuff, and representative cricket. But these guys all just added to this growth, and I want to give all of them that credit, because I'm who I am through those interactions and those journeys.
Yeah.
So me becoming a coach and a successful coach, and I don't think I'm successful yet, I've still got so much to learn and so much to do and so much to give to the game and players, that I'm humbled by people seeing me as an inspiration, and as you said in the intro, but it's only the start. I'm very much in human development. Not just players, coaches, people I interact with. I'm happy to help at some spaces, clubs. I'm involved in coach education. Yeah. So I live the game. Sometimes, it is difficult because you want reward. But that's when I ended up moving from Western Province to here, because I did a couple of games with the Cobras. I helped and I was involved, and then I didn't get the job. There was some jobs advertised. There was a bit of a merry-go-round in positions, and I felt that I deserved an opportunity, and I didn't get one. And lo and behold, bum in the butter again. Greg Fredericks calls and says, hey, we're looking, Wandile Gwavu's gone up to the Lions. Are you interested in the position of under-19 and Academy head coach at Gauteng? And at the time, I was dating my wife, and she was in Pretoria, and I was like,
of course, Gauteng,
1 + 1 = 2. Get out of here.
Get out of here, man.
I don't need the mountain at the moment. I can take a break.
Yeah.
So we went. So I took the chance. Came to Gauteng. I'd been working with Lawrence and sort of like as a tap coach and stuff. Got invited to Fort Hare, to the Black African camp. I think I did some good work, and obviously Lawrence was looking for someone to step into Wakes' shoes, and I took on that position, and I became the SA U19 assistant coach and batting coach. Had the privilege of being at a home World Cup. It wasn't a successful World Cup for us. It was quite disappointing. However, I was truly humbled to represent my country. I still have a green blazer, which I cherish.
Yes.
And it's a huge honor for me to have been able to sing my national anthem. So I got to go to India in 2019. Was it India? Yeah, 2019. We hosted Pakistan. We had the World Cup. We had a quadrangular. And then obviously after the World Cup, things didn't work out, and obviously coach moved on, and then obviously staff was disintegrated into their various spaces, and but I have no regrets.
Wow.
I went back to Lions, applied my trade, again reshuffle of structures. Things didn't feel like I was being valued at the time, and I'll openly say that. I feel like I've got a lot to offer. With my experience and my knowledge of the game. I may not have played as superstar for South Africa or whatever,
but you still have your knowledge.
I have my knowledge, and I've coached.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a coach,
you served.
If you're looking for a coach, you can come to me. Someone that can help players get better, you can come to me. If you're looking for someone that's got 10,000, 20,000 first class runs, don't come to me.
Yeah.
I know guys that do. I can phone them. But I'm just truly humbled by my
yeah.
experience and the 6 years that I've had in Gauteng, and the nearly 2 years. It'll be 2 years on the 1st of September at UJ. So thankful to Mam Nomsa, Dr. Vuguza, and Miss Zondi, who's my manager, for the opportunity and the trust that I've been given at UJ to run my program with autonomy, with the vision that I have and I see for UJ and the legacy that I want to leave. I definitely want to leave the place in a better state, and I hope that if people are looking from the outside in, they see the improvements.
It's already there's no doubt. I was actually talking to Aya on our way here that geez, the amount of work that you've put in, and this is a professional setup. You've got guys that, in as much as you're not playing today, but doesn't mean that you can't do your fitness.
No.
In as much as that you're not bowling here, you can still go into the nets and still get those yards in. That's just coachy.
So we thrive, and we want to use the word high performance at UJ, and I believe that at UJ Cricket we don't want to use it loosely. If we're going to be high performance, we need to live it every single day. Now we've got more resources than everyone else probably around us, so winter we train in the concrete nets. There's nothing wrong with it. We do the basics. When the weather's right and the nets can be good, we get in those winter nets and we train. When we can play, we play our games. And I'm thankful to my support staff in Onke Mtsiba and Tapelo, my batting and bowling coach, the SNCs, the Dineo, who's been amazing in changing the way that our players operate physically. They are still developing. They're in 18-19, but they are developing. The academic department and the psychology department, and Jacqueline and Detoy and her team, in making sure that I get the right players into the space that I want. So I've had complete support from UJ. I'm blessed to have the committee that we have that give me full trust. The chairman, Kateko Mate, who's a young man, but he's well beyond his years in the way that he thinks. Thinks about life, thinks about cricket, thinks about where he wants to, the legacy of UJ cricket and UJ sport and the impact we want to make. So my journey has been it's long. It's so much to tell, so much to share, so many funny stories, so many sad ones also, because we've been through that. I've been through the good, the bad, and the ugly at UJ in less than 2 years. I mean, got hammered at USA. We lost 4 out of 5. We clutched it back, and we've been through that because we are building something. We're not there. But we want to get to the point where we're attractive enough to get the number 1 pick in the country. That's the gold standard for me. To have a program that people talk about around the country and around the world. Say, well, I want to go to that university because that's a solid program, solid academics, and I want to leave that. And I think I do need a bit of time. But I'm so excited. I'm blessed to be involved with the relationships I have with all the clubs now. I think that was something that was important to me. Is I think I was difficult as an academy coach. I fought a lot with clubs. I wanted my players. I wanted the talent. I wanted to see it. And I wanted it now.
What now?
Whereas when you grow as a coach, you start realizing relationships are the link to everything, more than just the ones that come close to you, but external relationships. I can phone Harry and say, hey man, I need this, can you help me with this? And I can phone Mark Patterson, I can phone the Mr. Faisal from Delphos, I can phone anyone. I mean, right here we're playing something with our rivals.
And the ball is coming our way.
My leg spinner's just bowled a full P. So we really, I'm really like focused on trying to just get as much as I can right for everyone involved, and then hopefully in that I find some sort of victories also. But my wins are everyone's wins that I'm associated to and affiliated to. So I'd like us to get back to your question.
No, Coach, I've been sitting with you for an hour, and you know what? It's just such a good chat. My next question, yes, you spoke about how to practice, and I'm gonna park that for part 2 because. Jeez, I can talk to you for 3 hours and never stop. And I know you also need to go back to your work.
I don't even know what the score is. Are we catching a bit of a hiding here? These boys that came from the academy to come play are bowling interesting and lots of rubbish. But it's pre-season, so
it's how
we won't show all our cards.
Yeah. But I wanted to get to, before we close this up, how do you keep a balance? Because you are a man that loves this game so much. You love development, you love the sport, you love cricket. How do you keep a balance between this and the wife at home?
Sure, that's probably the hardest question.
And what advice would you give to someone that is so passionate? Because I was looking at, there was an article of one of the NBA players that said he's 55 and he never got married, never had children. And his answer to that was, I was so hungry to play ball, so much so that I knew that if I then get involved with someone else, ball would come first.
Yeah.
And here you are, you're married, happily married. Yeah. How do you keep a balance? Because I can see the passion in your eyes. You love the game. How do you then say, love, can you just wait? I'll be with you.
I don't get to say that. She allows me to come here.
Also.
I think I think credit to my wife, credit to my car Sibiya, because she dated me knowing what I do. She has supported me. She has built me. She has given me courage through some really difficult times. I think the toughest series or tour or part of my cricket coaching was when we hosted Pakistan, and we lost the series 7-0 in Durban and Maritzburg, and my wife just was a pillar. I remember we were 4-0 down, and this is the perfect example of the type of person she is. We 4-0 down, and we're up in the Midlands at the hotel. My wife got in her car, and I didn't know. She phoned the manager, Rian Osman, and she's like, "Hey, I don't know. They did something." Got back from training that afternoon. I'd taken some boys down to the stadium to do some extra work. Panic coaching. Young panic coaching.
Like, come on, we need to fix
this. We need to train.
Yeah.
We need to train. We're gonna get it right.
Yeah.
We're under the pump. It is what it is. We need to find a way. And we got back to the hotel, and my wife was there. She'd driven from Joburg. She got in the car and she drove.
You did not know?
I didn't know. She was like, "Nope, I'm not gonna let this carry on. I'm gonna come and support you through this. Come spend a week and just hold your hand through this very difficult time and support you and the team and coach at the time," which I thought was one of the most powerful things. I still get emotional thinking about it because I was pretty much ready to give up.
Wow.
I never lost so many games in a row. We got a hiding, man.
It's a lot. 7.
We lost 7.
7
and didn't even. We got close in game 1 and 2, and then after that, Naseem Shah was just different, and they just kept on. They were just on us every single day, and then you see them in the hotel every day. They're in your face, and they're reminding you, and they shake your hand and say, "Hey, well, try it."
What tried?
I'll punch you. These guys, you're too good for us. You're too good for us. And some of them are playing PSL, and our guys are just schoolboys. The likes of Mickey Copeland, Heinrich Peterson, Levert, Bryce, John O'Bird. You name them, we try them. Pego Moletsane, all of them. But you know, it was a very special part in my, and I'm just so grateful that my wife was able to see that I was in strife. She could sense it. I know that I was in a very, very dark place, and I was not mature enough to not take it personally. You know, my batters were not performing, and I was throwing every single day, all day if I could, and the guys just
not happening.
They were just not good enough, and those guys were not. They weren't good enough. Those guys were just better.
Just better, yeah.
They were just better, and I look at our kids now, and with what we're looking at, it's 3 years later, 4 years later. It's a football World Cup later, and they look alright. They look good.
Yeah.
But the foundation was being laid then, and that's what I needed to learn to be patient with, is the process of their growth. And you look at, we always have that cycle with SA U19 players. The likes of Jansen in India, when Jaiswal got his chance, his debut, he went and got 170. Marco Jansen bowled 2 overs and Rahul Dravid said, I reckon this kid's going to play for South Africa in 2 years. Because he was the one guy that could bowl top of off stump every single ball. So my wife is just an incredible person, so it is difficult. But she understands the seasons now. In terms of in winter, I also need to make a concerted effort to spend time at home and switch off and try and get away from the game. It's hard because it's cricket 365 on TV, so I don't watch cricket on TV. I follow it on my phone, so I got a DSTV app, so I can just sneak in there on the couch. And then she's like, "Are you watching cricket?"
No,
I'm like, no, I'm just checking stats. I'm checking stats.
I could never watch.
Meanwhile, I've just minimized the screen on this. But yeah, she doesn't like cricket, to be honest, and I think most wives with coaches and cricketers don't like cricket because it's the thing that takes their person away from them. And most of their time, so they are sharing you with another partner with this cricket, which is cricket. And but my wife understands. She has a love for these kids. She has a passion for them. We've had some of the boys come and stay at our house and visit us, and so. But she's extremely supportive. My family, my in-laws are extremely supportive of the game, and my family too. My grand gave up long ago. Wow. I'm not going to see you in Christmas.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Just send money.
As long as money for groceries is there.
So, no, but there's a lot of love and support for my family. I don't think I've never had pressure from my family. That's the thing. And I think that's allowed me to thrive. So, and my wife's never put pressure on me. She just congratulates me when I do well and calls me out when I'm being too hard and being unreasonable and not being able to connect with the feelings of people, because your emotions sometimes cloud you as a coach. So she's been very, very good to me. She's been very supportive, and I'm so thankful to God that I've got someone like her and not someone that's like, nope. That would have, long time ago, I think a lot of people would have said, nope, it's either me or cricket. And I'm unfortunately in that position. I'm probably going to choose cricket. So not with my wife though. No, not with my wife. No, I wouldn't do that. No,
I was about to say, what the nerve, man?
Listen, I married a closer woman. I know what I got myself into. She don't play, man.
Exactly.
When it's family time, it's family time. So I've learned to just juggle, sacrifice a little. I never used to be good at it. I'm not good at it yet. But I'm learning in the time that we've been together that I need to divorce myself from cricket also. Switch off. I need to ignore it. I need to make a concerted effort to go on a hike, to, when there's no cricket, go to church. Spend time with the family.
Because we never get this time.
Sundays, I don't know. I don't want to go to a church on a Saturday, but I need to find something that's going to work with that. That's one balance that I'm struggling with.
Go to church on a Friday. There's Friday night services.
I need to figure that out. I'm CRC, so
CRC.
So that's a spiritual wellness that's needed as a man and as a coach and as to believe in a higher power. I sat with some of my players a couple of weeks ago, and they're like, "Coach, can we say grace?"
Wow.
And and I was like, actually, that's probably. I went and told my wife, and she was like,
"Wow,
you're making an impact." And I was like, not everyone is Christian, but I'm sure
we can find common ground somewhere.
So family, it works. Look, I leave sometimes early to go pick up my brother, drop him off at rugby at St. Stithians, come back and do the afternoon club coaching session, and then it's more miles in the car, it's more risk, but it's just got to be done, because what am I going to do when I have my own children? There's probably 2 or 3 of them. Then I'm going to be madman. So I need to.
You're still going to be in point A, point B. One goes to hockey, another one goes to tennis, another one goes to this.
So you got to find a way. So I've been lucky enough to sum that question up. My wife has been a great energy and a great support structure, a great support person, a friend when it's been dark. But also she's been very firm on me when I've been cocking it up, and asking for a lot from my players when it's unreasonable. So she gets it because she gets me. So she knows me on a different level to what these guys know me. But she's been very, very sound and supports everything that I do.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very lucky.
Kochi, part 2 is coming up. Thank you so much for
Always
having
ready for
us.
it.
And you know what? This is not bye-bye. Kochi is coming back for part 2, and we're going to speak about how to practice. I think that
Huge.
took me big time. This has been an amazing chat. Thank you so much for taking
Thank
your
you
time.
very much for having
I
me.
know we're supposed to take you for an hour, but we went overboard.
The game is flowing.
So
I don't know in which direction, but it is.
yeah.
But yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you to the viewers, and
Awesome
look forward
stuff.
to part 2. We'll see you guys soon.
Definitely. Cheers for now.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.